How does effective networking directly translate into more deals, partnerships, or referrals?
When I go into a business, I say, you know what? Even if you don't attract one additional customer, but you change your philosophy in meeting the people, dealing with the people, and then following up with the people, I'll say that you'll increase your ROI by next month.
Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast, the #1 source for proven solutions to all your marketing challenges.
Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. We're bringing back a popular guest, Michael Andrew Forman. So here's the deal. Most people walk into networking events, grab a drink, collect a few business cards, and walk out with really nothing to show for the entire event. Today's guest, Michael Andrew Forman, a previous guest of the show, is back. He's a corporate speaker, networking strategist, and author of Networking Unleashed. He teaches professionals how to turn simple conversations into real relationships and real results. He's a Desert Storm veteran with no fluff approach to communications. Michael breaks down networking into something practical, repeatable, and profitable. If you've ever wondered how to actually work a room and walk away with real opportunities, you're in the right place. So, Michael, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Marco. It's great to be here, and I love discussing networking and its tangible benefits and everything. So I can't wait to get started.
Cool. Now, I just came back from an event in Cancun, Mexico, and I'm here with a bunch of executives of all these resorts, and some people I know I've met before, and almost I feel like intimidated myself, where these guys have, they're over here talking a little niche, they know each other, and I want to meet some of the people in that group, and it's intimidating to find a way to just plug in, and so tell us about it. Let's get into it. I mean, I know I was just talking to you before we hit the record button. I've been in business for years, decades. I've hit all kinds of networking. It's part of it's a skill you have to have. And even to this day, I can find myself, holding my hat in hand and a little uncomfortable on how do I break into that conversation? How do I walk up to that group and not feel weird, just trying to, cut my way in? So give us the background. How did you become the expert in networking? And then we'll start jumping into how we can help others.
Okay, sure. Listen, I went to the school of hard knocks, right? I learned how to do everything wrong before I did it correctly. And I'm talking about, I've been in sales, marketing, I've been director, vice president, I've been through it all for about 40 years. And I have to tell you, when I used to go out to networking events, I used to go out, be a business card collector, right? I used to come back with a shoebox filled with business cards and say, look how good I did, when in reality, I didn't do well at all. So I do the line in the sand from the pandemic, right? Before the pandemic, networking was really transactional, right? I have a widget, you have $3, you buy my widget, and you're a customer, and I grow my list. Ever since the pandemic, it's more relational. So that's when I started to really realize that, something, let me start getting into this and realize that I was doing everything wrong before I did it correctly. And I went through everything. I was in the military in my 20s. I had brick and mortar businesses, pizzeria, restaurants, Ben and Jerry's. I had a graphic design studio. Then I went to corporate, and I was the sales director of marketing, all that kind of stuff. And I realized that I was still the face of the company. So that's where my journey began.
Well, cool. So then you decide to, because I get, how long have you been doing courses and coaching with specific ideas on networking?
I would say I went full time on my own without any working anywhere else about 3 or 4 years.
All right, awesome. So let's get into it. So how do we break the ice? We prepare for, let's start with preparing to go to a networking event. Again, folks, if you're listening, if you're not realizing how important networking it is, when you go to these conventions, when you go to events, when you go anywhere, you're always, in my opinion, you're always on stage. Sooner or later, there's always an opportunity to potentially bring up and start, building a relationship where potentially it turns into a business opportunity. Always should be ready with your elevator pitch, with your business cards in your wallet or in your pocket, ready to go. So, but anyway, let's back up. Michael, you're the expert. Show us, what's the prep that people should get ready for prior to starting the idea? Okay, I'm going to start going to networking events. I'm going to start going to BNIs in the mornings, to get exposure. What should we do?
First, as you said, preparation is really half of it, right? You have to go out, you have to be comfortable. So, are you, an introvert or an extrovert? The extroverts, it's easy because we'll just go into a room, we'll start talking. An introvert, it's a little more complicated. But before you go to especially the BNIs or Chamber of Commerce meetings or something that's once a week, every week, listen, before you go out, look into the mirror and look at yourself. Well, first of all, see how you're dressed. Are you dressed appropriately? Right? You're not going in jeans and a t-shirt. You're going business casual, let's say. And, talk to yourself in the mirror. Hey, how you doing? I'm Michael. No, 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 that doesn't work. Hi, I'm Michael. No, no, that doesn't work. See what works. See, you have to say it out loud, right? When you talk out loud to yourself in a mirror and then practice. Your practice. Now you said your 30-minute, your 30-second elevator pitch, and I was hysterical because all the people that I coach, I have them, the first thing is I have them go out and practice that 30-second elevator pitch. Once we hone it down exactly to where we want it, I say, okay, now tailor it to 10 seconds. And they usually flip out. Like, well, what do you mean? I just did 30 seconds. I know. Let's tailor it to 10 seconds. So we tailor it to 10 seconds. And then you know what I say? Throw it out. I say throw it out because nothing you do that's canned is going to work, right? But what did I do? I had you figure out what you did in 30 seconds. Then I had you figure it out in 10 seconds. So now you're really ultra focused on what you do so you can speak about it in short terms. Nobody wants to hear you when you're talking 4 or 5 minutes. What do you do? Kind of, no, no, focus in, right? You focus, you say it. And then after you focus in and you say what you did, you wait for a response. You listen. You've got to listen, active listening. And you don't think about the next thing that you want to talk about. Think about what they're saying and respond to it.
Yeah, that's not easy, right? Because it sounds easy. Oh, just listen, but as Zig Ziglar used to say, you were born with two ears and one mouth for a reason. So listen more than you speak and you will win.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I'm behind them 100%.
and the reason for that is, and I agree, and I'm not always one to practice it because as you say, you're in this meeting, you're in this event, you have a goal. I want to leave here with prospects. I want to be able to close more deals, and so they're talking, and you're like, oh, it's easy to end up like you're almost looking beyond whatever the hell they're saying because it's not registering because you're thinking about exactly what you said. What am I going to say next? What's my next punchline? How am I going to get him to care about what I'm doing versus me caring about what they do? And the power in listening, and again, I'm guilty of not always doing it, but the power in listening with two ears and speaking with one mouth is if you can find something, people like you more if you actually took an interest in whatever they're saying and have questions about what they're saying and and allow them to embellish on whatever they want to talk about before you leave before you move on to the next person. They like you all of a sudden because you were a good listener. I would imagine you would agree. So let's expound on that a little bit, how that benefits to listen. And I've heard you other podcasts of yours where you talk about making sure you take down notes on what they do or said and so on. So
I do that, after first of all, you go into a networking event with what's called a servant's heart, right? You look to give and not receive. Bob Berg was very intricate with his when he goes on stages and everything else. He truly believes this. Um, so when you are looking to give, it takes all the pressure off you, and you're looking to listen to them and have them build up. And listen, if you ever get confused or you not know what to say, I follow something called FORM, FORM, family, occupation, recreation, and a certain message. Because you can always talk about one of those with anybody. So
can you repeat
as you
those again? It's form,
form,
family.
family, occupation, recreation, and a message. That message is like a kind of a catch-all. But you can always ask, hey, what do you do for fun? Do you like to go boating? Like to go fishing, skiing? What do you like to do? Like to go looking at art, whatever. And you're trying to find that common ground, their family, because people love to talk about themselves. Oh, how about your husband, wife, sister, brother, son, daughter, youth sports? That's always a big one, and say, oh, because I coached baseball for 16 years. I was an umpire, so I can really talk to them on that level. Once you get them on that level, they will just talk, and they will just, talk and talk and talk and say, okay, and you're slowly but surely bringing it around to, well, what do you do for a living? Well, he tells you, and he goes on to it, and he begins to talk more. So remember now, there's a mantra for networking. If they know you, if they like you and trust you, they'll do business with you. Now, everybody knows you. Everybody doesn't exactly like you because, listen, you're a great guy, but you're not for everybody. But trust you, that's the big thing. So as you're talking to them, that wall between you and that person is coming down, and that trust level is going up. Once you have that, once the trust level is up, and he starts talking about his business, well, that's great. So you say, okay, after he finishes and you pause, that's a very important pause, and you respond with something he was talking about. So I understand that you were talking about XYZ. Okay. Say, you know something? I like you. I like the way you do business. How can I make you more successful? How can I be a good referral source for you? And if I did my job correctly, they would say, Michael, I don't even know what the hell you do yet. And you're already trying to make me more successful? Yes. So you do what you have to. He may ask for your card, that's what you do. But on the back of his business card, you write down the date, the name of the function, and something you spoke about. And that will come in handy when you follow up, because the follow up is just as, if not more important than just actually meeting the person.
Now, I find today one of the challenges with that is nobody carries a business card anymore. Everybody wants to whip out their phone and transfer phone data if you've got an iPhone or you're going to text each other. And then it can be, I've been doing this recently. I'm going to run it by you, see, but it seems it's been sometimes awkwardly because I'm not all that great with technology, even though I make a living with technology. But I'm with the phone and I'm trying to open a phone and set up a new contact, and then I want to take his picture to add it to the contact so that I've got to help me remember exactly what was going on. And then write some notes about, into that contact. It could be a bit of a process. Do you have any suggestions on speeding that up?
Well, I would say most of the people still carry some sort of a business card. Most people. But for those Gen Zers, that you're meeting and they said whip out their phone, well, that's okay. You whip out your phone, but you should always have your notes section open, right? Because then you write their name rather, and write what I said, the date, the name of the function, and something you spoke about. Now, you can just write a general date and what the function is and everybody's name and what you spoke about, because that is so very important for the follow-up. So you have to make sure you have to take that extra 30 seconds, it's all it takes, in between talking with somebody and the next person. Take that 30 seconds and write it either into your phone or on the back of their business card, write all the information down.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Um, so then what? What is your follow-up sequence suggestion?
Okay. So I have a secret sauce for a follow up, and it has been proven so many times. I get emails back from the workshops that I do or the C-suite executives when they implement my follow-up. Um, in 4 months, they've raised their ROI by 25,000, 50,000. It depends on the product that they were selling, but they increase it that much. So, okay, so let's say you go to a 3 or 4 hour event and you picked up 15 cards, right? That's about right for a 3 or 4 hour event if you actually had a discussion with the person. If you're going around just collecting business cards, this isn't going to work because you really didn't get to know the person, right? But when you get back to your office or home, write them a thank you note. Marco, hey, this is Michael. It was great spending time with you this evening. Hope to see you soon, or hope to do business with you soon, Michael. That's it. A thank you note. That's all you do. The next morning, you write a handwritten thank you note. That's right, handwritten. In the day of technology, you write a handwritten thank you note. Hey, Marco, I met you at such and such date at such an event. We spoke about XYZ. Remember, that's what you wrote on the back of the business card. I'm really hoping to do some business with you. I hope you had a great time, Michael. I didn't say when, where, who, what. I just wrote that thank you note in that form. Could you imagine being the person in 3 days receiving this thank you card? Look at that. It's not a bill, it's not an invoice, it's not your electric is about to get cut off. It's a thank you note. And you open it up, it's a thank you note with a business card. Say, well, I was thought of. I automatically I put you on top of the list because you remembered me. Now, if that didn't have you uh, write an email back to me in 3 days, because I have to give the time for the thank you note to get there, 3 or 4 days. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such and such date, such an event. We spoke about XYZ. I start every time I touch you with that same beginning, because what does that do? Puts me on top of mind. So listen, was looking at my schedule. Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, it seems to be open. How's Tuesday? Let me know, Michael. So 3 days go by. You still haven't emailed me back. You're a horrible person because you haven't emailed me back, but still, right? So I email you again. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such date at such an event. We spoke about XYZ. Listen, I told you Tuesday and Wednesday were free. Tuesday's kind of filled right now. How's Wednesday, Michael? And I wait another 3 days. Now, I'm just playing like you haven't responded to me yet. I wait 3 more days. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such date at such an event. We spoke about XYZ. Listen, Tuesday and Wednesday seem to have filled up rather rapidly. I'll leave it in your hands. When is a good day for you? So what did that do? That kind of ended my correspondence with you in a nice way. That left you open to picking a day for me. Now, if you still haven't answered me, you probably are not going to. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take all your information, take all the points of contact, I have it in a CRM, and I put you on a drip campaign. So every month, I'm going to send you an email. Hey, Marco, this is Michael. I met you on such date, such an event. We spoke about XYZ. I'm just seeing if you have any extra time for me. Now, your corporate email has a 2 or 3% response rate. I just upped it to about 70%. You'll probably get a response rate. But always remember, it takes between 8 and 15 touches for a person to respond back to you.
And most of us give up after 3 or 4.
After 2 or 3, people give up.
If you even made the 2 or 3, exactly.
Absolutely. And they'd say, "Oh, I'll email them back in 2 days." Somebody actually, I was at a networking event, and I asked them, "How do you follow up?" Because, oh, well, in 2 days I'll send them an email, in a week I'll send them another email. I said, "Okay, I just want to know. Thank you," because in my mind, I win, right? I'll get to them. I hold a networking meeting every Thursday night, about 15 to 20 businesses. And one rule that I have, usually within a networking group, BNI or anything else like that, you have 24 hours to respond to anybody that referred you. No, mine is 4 hours. You have to respond in 4 hours. I don't care if picking up the phone and say, "Hey, Marco, this is Michael. Jeff referred me over to you. I'm just calling you to ask, when's a good day and time that I can talk to you?" That's a contact. So at least I'm contacting you.
Hmm. So let me back up a little bit. And well, before I do, uh, folks, don't go. I got more questions for Michael. We're going to jump into what to do at the event, how to handle the event again. But we'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
You just heard from our main sponsor, marketingboost.com. Folks, if you're in business looking for ways to wow your clients, can you find ways to reward loyalty? Can you reward actions that you want, such as give me more referrals, give me a video testimonial or review? If you're looking for ways to engage your customers, check out marketingboost.com. We are the most affordable way to provide incentives, rewards, and perks that will wow your clients and build loyalty and rewards or referrals and a whole lot more. We teach you all of that inside the marketingboost.com platform. We're back here with Michael, and we're talking about networking and how to successfully generate prospects from a networking event, turn them into relationships, and then do the proper follow-up. But one of the ways that I've always been challenged at events I go to, I spot somebody, maybe the speaker of the event or what have you, and I want to meet that person. And as soon as the meeting's over, there's a crowd of people around them. And then before you know it, you can kind of feel like they're getting ready to exit the room. How do you break into a conversation when people seem to already be locked in and you're trying to make sure meet that particular person or people in their circle, like, the whole group of speakers that were on stage or what have you?
It's funny you say that because that's very intimidating. There's a circle around the speaker and everybody's talking to him and getting it. It's very difficult. So the first thing you have to do is get within eyesight. Okay, so you have to, if there's a circle, you kind of have to break into the circle. You're not going to do anything from behind the people because he's not going to see you. The first thing you have to do is establish eye contact, right? So eye contact that that you're there, you're dressed properly, so he's not looking at you like, who is this guy? So then he looks at you, and you wait for your eyes to meet, right? And then you have to say something, make sure that something is worthwhile of him responding, right? That's the catch, right? You have to say something. Now, I always say something humorous, right? Nothing about his speech, nothing about what I want to talk about, but I'm usually self deprecating, right? Because everybody can laugh at that. But I usually say something at that. And if he chuckles, smirks, or anything like that, then you have him, then you quickly come out with something else. That's how you break into that.
Hmm. All right. Um, so we've been talking about what's a give us an example of a powerful opening line that actually works in real life that you might use with what maybe it's not the guy that just came off the stage, but an opening line and breaking in. There's three people in a conversation and you've been eyeing one or two of them that you want to meet. And so, but they're into what looks like a heavy conversation. What's a good way to break into that conversation, that circle, or you just, is it, because I always, sometimes it feels awkward. You want to get in, you just, get close and start listening in, but even that feels awkward. So for me, occasionally, what do you say to stuff like that?
Well, the first thing you do, you're right. Okay. So when you approach that three or four people and you stay on the outside, kind of like in, but you're listening. So that's the most important part. You're listening for the conversation. Now, is this a conversation that you want to be a part of? Is it business or is it personal? But you're listening for that. All right. Let's say it's business and they're talking about something. I'm not sure what it is. Now, what I say is different every single time that I walk into a group of people because I don't say anything about me or what I'm doing there or what I'm selling or anything else. That's the worst thing that you can do, right? So you're listening for the conversation to come around. If somebody is talking, you don't talk over them. You wait for that break, right? Or if there's a give and take, you wait and see. You have to give something to that conversation that means something, that is important enough. So you really have to be on top of your game if you're an extrovert, if you're going to go out and do this, you're going to walk into a circle of people who probably know one another, and you're going to stop and you're going to listen. You're going to listen for the conversation. Wait till you hear a few sentences, a paragraph of what it is that they're talking about. So you can digest it and say, either I don't know anything what they are saying, or I know a little bit about it, and you can ask a question. Questions are usually very good because that will compel somebody to answer it. And then it'll seem like you're truly interested and you have to take the ball and run with it. So you have to ask the question, wait for the answer, and then your reply has to be on the same note, right? But then all of a sudden you realize, hey, wait a second, he's engaging me, and now I'm part of the program.
Yeah, I've been in this situation where they're having a conversation and I can't find a real good tie-in or question because it might be something I've no idea what they're really what it might be about. Yet I want to meet one of the three that's in the conversation or what have you. And so one of the things I've done, and it's successful eventually, is when I get an opportunity to speak, it says, "Sorry to interrupt, but Juan or whatever his name is, Joe, I've been wanting to meet you," and then reach out with my hand, says, "My name's Marco," and just see if I can interrupt the conversation with point blank, "Hey, I want to meet you. I've had my, eye on you this whole event. You look very interesting," or whatever.
I would try to do that towards the end of their conversation, because if I was speaking with somebody and having a conversation and somebody interrupts me, say, "Hey, I wanted to meet you," I'm like, "Yeah, but can't you see that I'm talking?"
Right. It can
So
be, it's got to come
it could
towards the end of their, hopefully they're
exactly,
breaking up and ready to walk away from each other when you cut in with that.
and you have to find that time, and that's when you break in,
Yeah.
because then it's okay, it's acceptable. You don't want to do anything to make yourself look like like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You want to say you're truly interested and whatever.
Cool. All right. So how long should you stay in a conversation before moving on? And how do you exit gracefully, for example, when the conversation or the person you realize is not somebody you might be able to really help very much, or they can help you? Uh, what's a good way to exit gracefully?
Okay, so now remember that you went into this networking event with a servant's heart, right? You went in thinking, what can I do for somebody else instead of receiving? If you are in that circle and you realize that there's nothing you can do here, there's nobody you can really help, there's nothing here, right? You bow out gracefully. And by doing that, you wait for a break, not somebody mid sentence, because that'll feel kind of rude. But you can sense when the conversation is coming to a lull, and you say, "Oh, excuse me, I see there's somebody over there I'd like to speak to. Have a great day," or "Have a great time," or I'll speak to all of you later on," and politely bow out and go on to the next circle.
Powerful stuff. Folks, we'll be right back. Don't go away. I've got a whole lot more next. We're going to be talking about business and revenue connections.
Is your business on autopilot yet? Do you have automation in place to capture, nurture, and convert prospects into clients via email, SMS, ringless voicemails, appointment setting? Get all the inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on automating your business so you can make money while you sleep.
We're here with Michael Andrew Forman talking about networking. And in his conversation a moment ago, he talked about having a CRM. Folks, if you don't have a a customer relations management platform, contact management platform, you need to check out automationbooster.com. You just heard from Automation Booster. I've been an internet marketer since 1996. I've never seen a platform as powerful and affordable as Automation Booster, where we give you the tools for your inbound, your outbound marketing, texting, email, voicemail broadcasting, setting up the sequences that Michael was talking about earlier so that your system can automatically set up the follow-up sequencing of emails, including bringing in details about the customer in the messaging or the text messaging to do the proper follow-up. And then eventually it's once a month, like he was talking about earlier. So if you don't have a system like that already, and especially one like ours that plugs in hundreds of templates with ideas on how to use the Marketing Boost incentives in your funnel builder, your sequencing, your emails. We show you how to use these incentives to help guide somebody to book on a Zoom call with you, how to get them to take the actions you desire, and add a little incentives and rewards from Marketing Boost in the mix. Check out automationbooster.com. Amazing platform. And it ties in Marketing Boost. We're back with Michael Forman. I want to get into the conversation of business revenue connection. How does effective networking directly translate into more deals, partnerships, or referrals?
That's easy because listen, I told you before, all my workshops and everything that when I go into a business, I say, you know what? Even if you don't attract one additional customer, but you change your philosophy in meeting the people, dealing with the people, and then following up with the people, I'll say that I will almost guarantee, because I can't guarantee anything, I'll almost guarantee that you'll increase your ROI by next month. So I had my second, I've had two back-to-back workshops about 4 months ago, one about 5 months ago. One of them increased their ROI by $25,000, and the other one increased it by $50,000. They sold something very different. One was a roofing company, and that was because the finances are so much more. But by not increasing their calling, their prospectus, their prospects, anything, not by increasing that at all, they increased the money that they took in because they took better care of their customers. So when I talk to a salesperson, or I talk to customer service people, or I talk to the back office people, the HR people, the C-suite executives, right? Everybody has to be on the same page. And by doing that, if you follow my follow-up sequence, you're almost guaranteed more money.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see how that follow up, especially that handwritten note, and I'll tell you what, handwritten notes is something I've never done, and I'll tell you a couple of secret reasons why that I've never told really anybody. And one is I grew up dyslexic. I'm still dyslexic. I switch letters. I can't spell worth a darn without ChatGPT and other corrections.
Well, I'll tell
But
you.
but I'll go further because of my inability with growing up with dyslexia and even having a hard time learning to read properly, etc. My spelling, I mean, my not only my spelling is bad, but my handwriting is terrible because I never made a big habit of writing much because I hated it. And so I'm always embarrassed with my handwriting when it comes to handwritten stuff. I have no problem typing out letters and typing out, what have you. So a handwritten letter to me would be, I'd be embarrassed at what my scribbles look like. So what do you say to that?
Well, that's a very simple solution. There are places online, and one place that I use that I have an account with is called handywritten.com. And what that will do is that you have a choice of several thank you notes. You type in exactly what you want to say, and all you have to do is put in the person's name and address. They write it, they mail it, they stamp it, and deliver it all for you. Now it's like 350 a card instead of whatever 67 cents, whatever. But it has the same effect. And if you're dyslexic, or if your handwriting is horrible, and my handwriting is so bad, right? But if you use that system, you can go right online and send it out. It may take an extra day to get to it, to get there, but it will have just about the same effect, and you'll still come out looking like a hero.
Yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, I've seen that. I've never implemented that idea because one, it's the same step that most of us don't take, right? The handwritten note. But I like that solution because if I was going to do it, I wouldn't want to use my own handwritten scribbles.
Yeah.
I sometimes can't read my own scribbles after I took notes. It's like
That's exactly my problem. Exactly. Fortunately, I'm married to a graphic designer. She has perfect handwriting. So whenever we have to send anything out, I have her write it and I'll sign.
all right. So the next section I want to talk about is it. advanced level, right? Authority positioning. How do you network up with people who are much more established and intimidating? We talked a little bit about that earlier, such as, the speaker at the event that you want to go meet. What is what's a good strategy for that? Networking up with people that are, you know, obviously, you want to meet Grant Cardone at the event. Well, maybe not that, whatever, you get the idea.
Right. Well, the first thing you have to do is build your credibility, right? Because credibility goes so far. So, when I first became a speaker, I figured out, okay, what did I have to do? Well, I've been written up on several articles, several magazines. I have an award for best communicator. I've written a book. Um, I've done all these things. I write articles for an online magazine 3 times a week. I have a podcast. All of these things go to my credibility. So when I go up to a speaker and I say, "Oh, sure, I have this, or I wrote that in an article, or in my book, or you know what, I have a podcast that," and so you're bringing this stuff into it, and it should be enough so they can turn around and say, "I find that interesting." One of the parts that you said, whether it's the articles, podcasting, the book, or anything else like that, should be interesting to that person. And then whatever that is, you talk about it.
Perfect. And so if you're, here's another question for you. What's the biggest networking myth? What would you say is the biggest networking myth that needs to die in the mind of somebody trying to make these networking events more effective?
Close your mouth. Stop talking. Because the first thing that I used to do was walk in and say, "Look, I am sensational. I know my product. I know everything. Here, I'm going to walk up to a group of people, hand out my business card, and tell them all what I have." It was such a great thing that they're all going to buy. That is 100% the wrong way to do it. So you walk up to a table, you don't talk, you listen. You wait for the conversation to come around. Is this a conversation that I want to be a part of? No, it's not. You haven't said anything yet. So you bow out and you go to the next table. It is a conversation. So you wait patiently for that opportunity for you to say something intelligent, I might add, to make so at least one or two of those people turn to you and respond.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to share my screen, folks. If you happen to be on YouTube or Rumble, I'm going to your website,
Mike,
michaelforman.com. Did I get it all right
Michael,
there? Michael
my
Forman.com. Tell us
yes.
about your site here and the services you offer.
Well, my site is exactly what I was talking about. My award is the first thing. You want my email as for your email, rather for a newsletter. But on there also are the plethora of podcasts. I've been on about 90 different podcasts to date. It has my two talks when I talk about networking, when I go to colleges and high schools, and I talk to them about getting a job and keeping a job and everything else. On there also, you see a Fusion Alliance banner. And what that is that I'm holding an expo in March about businesses that are coming together. That is my networking group. Um, that every Thursday night, I hold a networking group if you want to come to that. But again, on the sides is you click it and there is another website just for the Business Networking Expo. Um, but you can also on the front page, on the home page, there's a contact form and you can get hold of me. But this is my business expo. The date, the time, everything about it. if you want to be a sponsor or a vendor. Either way, it works out very well. And it should be a great thing. I have about 20 tables, 20 businesses will come, about 200 people will come through it, and it will be a great time.
So that's in Johns Creek, Georgia, right?
Johns Creek, Georgia, and I am from Cumming, Georgia, but Johns Creek.
Very good. And then for those of us that are not in that area, back on the website, there was, let's see if I get back over here. There was some free information available. I thought I
Y-
saw on the homepage.
Yes, there
Let me see
is.
if I
There
can.
is. I wrote a book, Networking Unleashed. And what I did was that's for the podcast. There we
Mhm.
go. Now, if you scroll down, you can
Oops.
go scroll
Sorry,
down
wait. I
and
went.
uh,
Is that where I need to be or no?
no, you clicked on podcast, click on home,
Okay.
and
Back.
then what you can do is you scroll down, you go past all of this, and you'll get down to my digital courses about what about networking, about how to do it. From an easy way, I have a networking course on there. It's about $500, but I have anywhere from $27 up through, there we go, all the different digital courses. And I have some freebies. Um, I have my an unabridged book, same as my Networking Unleashed. You can print that out, and that will definitely get you on your way. I have the Profit Connector. That's a small little pocket in case you a pocket PDF, in case you have to look at it, in case you're in a networking event. And of course, I have 50 networking magic lines. You can use those in emails. You can use them anywhere else. Those are pretty good. Um, and of course, I have my speaker kit if you want to see all about me, about my demo video and things like that. And further down, you have Let's Connect, and there you can put your name, email, and what you want to talk about. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about anything. And
Very good.
I will call you back within 24 hours.
So now what I want to ask you about, a lot of our audience, we are Marketing Boost community is a community of entrepreneurs. Our Facebook group has over 33,000 members in it now, and we're there to help each other grow. That's the purpose of this podcast. But so let me ask you this. One of the things that many of us, in our community we're still in the early stages of growing a business and what I call sometimes, well, the solopreneur or the wannabe entrepreneur, right? We're still struggling. Michael, tell us about one of your biggest rough times in business, something that, you when you started out, it wasn't going well, you're ready to throw in the towel. I don't know. You made a mistake and you ran an ad on Facebook but didn't put the budget in. It went way out of whack and you spent a fortune. Something that went wrong and how you turned that into, did you turn it around? How did you get where you're at? I want to hear one of the worst moments in your business life and how you overcame it.
Well, it all goes back to, the networking event when I would I would get nothing out of the networking event. I would spend money. I'd go to an event. I'd get 200 business cards. I'd talk to a bazillion people, and I would go back to my office the next week or two, and I realized that I didn't get anything out of this event. So I'm like, okay, this was just one event. So the next event I went through, and I went through the same process, and I wasn't getting anything. I was wasting time and money because I could be using my time for something else, and my money is precious, right? So I really had to become I really had to look at myself from the outside in. What am I doing wrong? And what I'm doing wrong is everything. I said I went to the school of hard knocks, and everything that I did was wrong. So I had to regroup. I had to start fresh from the beginning. I had to look at myself in the mirror because, either I was overdressed or I was underdressed. I was never dressed for the meeting, and I had to change that. So I went and I was really, I almost gave up networking per se. I knew that it was the lifeblood of my business, but so I was going to have somebody else go out and network because I wasn't going to take the time to do this. I was doing it all wrong. So I looked at myself and I said, okay, what can I do? I hired a mentor, and he brought everything to light. He goes, well, tell me all about it. And I told him. And it's like, well, can't you see what the problem is? I said, no, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And, he went through it, we went through it and talking about it. And after about a week or two, I started fresh. I started from the beginning. And the first, especially when I coach, when I see somebody, when I'm just coaching somebody for the first time, I said, look, when you go out and network, the first networking event you go to, you're going to suck. It's going to be bad, right? But don't let that get you down, right? Take all the bad. What did you learn from that? You learned this, this, and this. Okay. So the next one you go to, don't do that, right? You're going to do it this way. Then the third time, well, what did you learn from the second time? And really by the fourth time, maybe fifth time for some who are slower, but some people, but by the fifth time, you get pretty good at it and you feel better about going out and doing the networking. And that's what I did. And I went out, I began enjoying myself. I used to be so, so much pressure and like, oh my God, I have to sell. I have to do this. I have to make it worthwhile. I, all that is gone. I enjoy myself. I go in with what's called a servant's heart. I put people together. I connect with people. I have that 15 cards, maybe. I have, I put that all into my CRM and I start that whole process. And now, 3 or 4 years later, I go to 2 networking events per week because there's that important. And I go there, I have a great time.
Now, Michael, what was the business you were promoting in those early days that you're talking about?
Ah, mortgage. I was in the mortgage business and I was pretty high up within the mortgage banking. And I realized that I was doing it all wrong, right? So I had to come to that whole, I had to come to terms with myself that I was doing well with my business, about with what I was doing personally, but when I was going to events, I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I had to stop, regroup. And that's when I started doing presentations for realtors and things like that. I was really getting in the know. And I began becoming the face of the company. And I was doing presentations for them and everything else. Then I moved down to Georgia. I was living in New York then. I moved down to Georgia and I went to work for a law firm as the sales director, as a marketing director. But again, I became the face of the company. And I realized that I could do all this myself.
Powerful lesson there. One, you were looking as a mortgage broker, you were looking for ways to have new prospects, obviously. You figured, let's try networking. You were failing at it. You hired a coach. That's big lesson there is that you were willing to say, what do I need to do differently? You could have given up on networking, but instead you hired a coach, figured out what you were doing wrong. And eventually that turned into now you're the networking trainer, you're the
Yeah.
networking coach, you're the author
And
of the Networking Unlimited. And you turned that negative challenge of failing completely at networking into your main business today, or one of your main businesses for all I know. So, congratulations on that. And that is a powerful lesson on how opportunities unfold when you are willing to look in the mirror and say, I'm failing at this. How can I improve? Am I willing to hire a coach? Am I willing to have a mentor? Am I willing to find the solutions to this? And rather than giving up, it's turned into years later a whole new opportunity for you.
whole new opportunity.
Cool beans. Well, folks, if you like the content we brought you today, please give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe and grab the link and share this with somebody else. There's no one out there who's not in need of learning how to make networking more effective. We all have to network sooner or later, whether you make it a full-time effort like Michael does twice a week to a networking event, which is a good idea for many of you, or whether you just go to certain conventions here and there and certain events and need to make the most of it. Those can turn into major life-changing opportunities when you meet persons. I think it's Grant Cardone who says, if your net worth is not growing, it's time to change your network. So if you're not meeting the right people, it's everything in life is who you know to a certain degree. Who you know and do they know you is the key. Because you might know them, but if they don't know you, if you didn't stick out, then so what? So that's where that listening with two ears, talking with one mouth, learn to listen, learn to stay in touch, and then use technology with a CRM to follow up with the emails, with the direct mail piece, the handwritten direct mail piece. A lot of great ideas. You can go follow and get ideas and take the course. You have one for as little as $37 a month or is it monthly or is it?
No, it's straight up just $37. And you
One-time
get the
payment of
course.
$37 to get the networking course from michaelaforum.com. So give us a like, subscribe to the show, grab this link and share it with somebody. And again, I want to thank you very, very much for giving us the time to pay attention to our show and to learn and listen from Michael. Michael, thank you for the content you brought us today. Thank you for this great content. Really, really, really appreciate it. You have any final words for our community? Any final message you want to carry?
No, you know what, you touched on it. I don't want you to think about your network as the people, as the people that you know. I want you to think about your network as the other people. Are you in their network? That's how you can really tell how big your network is. So if you're not, follow them and make sure that the people that you want to get in touch with, that you are in their network.
Do they know you versus that you know them? Because
Exactly.
if you know them and you're always reaching out to them for a favor or referral or contact, whatever, that's going to get old. So how can you serve others? And that's not easy to do. Um, that's not easy to do, but it's a great. I see the value in changing the mindset. I'm going into these events to see how I can serve others, even if it's just, I'm going to introduce you to somebody who might need this service, or introduce you to that. And before you know it, obviously people want to reciprocate, and including doing business with you or referring people to you and so on. Again, Michael, thank you again for being on our show for a second time. You're a great guest. And folks, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. You can click either here or there to get to the next show. Thank you. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.